Well, Richard, thank you for coming to Hobart to visit ISW. I trust you've had a good time over the last day or so.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, it's certainly been an interesting adventure. It's been a privilege to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, Richard, you've worked with some of the biggest tech players in the world: SAP, Microsoft, IBM, and as such. Interested to hear about what drew you to the data space now that you're working at Informatica.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't say I was so intentional early in my career, but when I got into IBM, I realized that there was a real return for effort, and I had what I consider to be like a really successful time in IBM and moved through 8 roles in 13 years and got to a degree of sort of seniority. And one of the second last roles I did was on strategy, and I was writing strategy for the IBM Australia business on things like cloud go forward strategy, and kind of really struck me at the time of kind of casting my mind forward. And as I looked into the future in 2012, I was thinking, look, you know, the future is held by the people that own the applications or own the data center layer. And so I started a process of thinking through, well, where do I want to be? And the first thing is I have to reinvent myself as a software person. And so I wrote down on my list SAP, and miraculously within 6 weeks I was at SAP. And so I did, 4 wonderful years there. Ended off as the head of the tech sales, which was a variation moving out of sales into technical sales leadership. And again, we looked into the future and saw really it's software in the cloud is the next phase, and then kind of imagined that, and then blink, I'm now working and leading the Azure business for Microsoft Australia, and had the kind of privilege of kind of building my own strategy locally of how to grow the Azure business, and had a very successful sort of 4 years building the Azure business, and kind of got to the end of my strategy and was looking for what am I going to do next, and again cast my mind forward and thought, well, really there's 2 fundamental futures, which are data and security. And not long after sort of thinking about that process, I was approached by Informatica. And I had just done a deal with Informatica while working at Microsoft, and it was a really great deal. Mm-hmm. And I did some research and found out they were the market leader in all their market segments. And I thought, this could be really exciting. I'd actually envisaged having a long career at Microsoft, but I really felt that this was a unique opportunity to go and be a country leader of a market-leading data company. And so I made the jump. And I have to say, despite working at IBM, SAP, Microsoft, I have loved Informatica the most. And this industry is incredible. Even this week in Tasmania, talking to government clients, just agreeing that every problem the government faces is data. Yep. And, most organisations, most of the issues they're facing is data related. So for me, it was, really the right choice, and it's been a wonderful kind of career move, and now leading Asia Pacific and Japan for Informatica. I'm just having a great time.
Oh, fantastic. We've really enjoyed becoming an Informatica partner. ISW, our journey with you started some 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And being a platinum partner with Informatica is something that we're very proud of.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of growth, and like to come along to the Informatica World events usually every year.
Yeah.
You've just returned from Informatica World, and there's been a lot of big announcements there.
Yeah.
Can you take us through some of?
Yeah, so Informatica World is just such an incredible opportunity for our clients and partners to get inside Informatica and meet with our leadership, including our CEO and all the product leaders from across the planet. And then one of the most amazing opportunities for our customers and partners to meet other customers and partners from their industry or adjacent industries and kind of share stories. And we took 55 partners and customers from Asia Pacific, Japan over to Las Vegas, and the ones that I spent time with all had an incredible time and really made sort of lasting relationships that they'll use to leverage in their business and leverage in their career. But I think the thing with Informatica World is always overwhelmingly rich in announcements, and it probably could fill 2 pages as to what we announced. But I think the biggest thing to really hit for Informatica and our clients was, really the rise and our subsequent announcement of agentic AI. And for those that aren't familiar, I kind of visualize an agent or an AI agent is like a digital robot living inside your environment, and they have a set of instructions about actions or things to look for and actions to take, and they do those autonomously. And so if you can imagine having hundreds, thousands, there's even talk of large organizations having millions of agents operating inside their environment, there'll be this transformative change. People are even saying as big a change as going from the agrarian age to the industrial age. So I'm not sure if that's quite true, but there's both excitement and fear, but we're really excited. And so not only did we announce a number of agents for Informatica clients, including agents for data quality, for data integration, for data governance, for linearity, but we also announced agents for AI engineering, so that you can actually, build, manage, and control agents from other agent providers, like imagine Salesforce agents or Workday agents or SAP agents, because as you can imagine, if the agents are all running free inside your environment, it could cause kind of chaos, particularly when it comes down to data management, data privacy, data security. You need to ensure you have strong agentic controls in place. So it's kind of this Herculean move. We'll be releasing the first 3 agents in the second half of 2025. And, that was really the incredible buzz that we saw at Informatica World was, all about agentic AI. And we have really deep and lasting relationships with Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Databricks, Snowflake. We had announcements about all of those relationships, plus new relationships we've announced with NVIDIA and Salesforce as well. So, we just feel really privileged to be in this position. We have, not many people know this, but we're meeting sometimes companies like Snowflake, weekly, and talking about engineering changes and improvements and making sure we match up the technology between the 2 providers so that our joint customers have this sort of seamless experience. So we have a very tight kind of engineering level engagement. We also had chief engineer from Microsoft present and talking about our collaboration around Fabric, which is really important to a lot of our customers. Again, joint customers, Microsoft and Informatica. So just a really incredible knock it out of the park event again. Over 400 executive one-on-one meetings. 1,200 clients from across the planet. A great time had by all.
I've certainly enjoyed my time that I've spent when I've been there over the last few years. It is a fantastic event.
Yeah, cool.
You touched on some of the challenges that some customers might have to face when they're moving into AI-based projects or agentic AI and control and security and so forth. And I guess there are some challenges that customers have moving into these AI projects. I guess that's a space that Informatica is very strong in as well, in assisting customers.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about how customers can use Informatica to help them with some of these projects that they might be struggling with?
Yeah, I think part of the thing is educating the client base and the industry that we've evolved a lot in the last sort of 5+ years to be this low code, no code, the only industry AI-powered cloud data management platform. And we really, as I describe it, the barbecue chat, we're like the plumbing of data for most large enterprise and government. So whether that is discovery, integration, ingestion, data quality, data governance, and data privacy, policy management, that's what we do incredibly well for our clients. I think the issue facing 99% of organizations, whether that be private or government, is this data in silos. data hidden away, because you truly can't run AI across your enterprise or across your agency unless you have a kind of a single view of data, that it's incredibly high quality, that it's well managed and is well governed. Otherwise, you're going to get, whether you call them hallucinations or very skewed, and even some of the most advanced organizations in our economy still have these huge data silos. So, achieving kind of that true concept of AI really needs, that evolution internally to sort of break down those silos, implement the right governance models, and ensure, kind of premium of quality. And then, in terms of, having the data being refreshed, you need to ensure you're ingesting all the right data at the right time. And then again, that's coming in and being managed. So otherwise, you're just going to get a one-eyed view.
Yep, that's true. Richard, lots of businesses want self-service analytics, but then there's a bit of a governance headache with that. Are you seeing companies or businesses get tripped over here, and how does Informatica help with that?
Yeah, we all remember the push for analytics, X many years ago. In actual fact, the analytics journey is the same as the AI journey. And it's the same problem happening now. So in the analytics drive, everyone was racing out and buying analytical tools. Yeah. And right now, everyone's running out and buying AI tools. They're actually quite pointless because until your data is in order, analytical tools will tell you kind of rubbish results. They might look accurate, but they won't be correct. And in the same way, your AI won't work properly. If you're a bank and you only have, say, client data, but you don't have the stockbroking data or the commercial data, and you've got a client in all three, you're only looking at one slice of the customer. If you're the federal government and you have a veterans identifier, you have a Medicare number, you have a tax file number, but when you're looking at the citizen, you don't see them as a whole person. You're not really seeing the information correctly. So you really, again, need to be in a position where you're pausing the tools and focusing on, am I identifying and ingesting all of the data that I need for the outcome that I'm seeking? And then is that being managed at a high quality level? So my quality of my data, is 95% plus. That I have a governance model in place that's being adhered to and applies to state, federal, and international regulations based upon where I do business, and then sending that to some sort of technology that engages it, whether it be an analytical Power BI, a Tableau, or something else, or an AI engine or a set of agents. It's all the same. So what we're seeing at the moment is a fairly significant surge in data quality, seeing a surge in data governance, because a lot of people kind of play platitudes to data governance, but they don't have anything really implemented. We're seeing a surge in mastering data, which I think a lot of people see master data management as sort of like something for big companies or unique companies, but anyone that has multiple customer records or multiple product records or multiple asset records or multiple financial records can kind of master that data into a golden record, and often it's the ROI is incredible on that kind of mastering and achieving the golden record. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. But it really is still coming back to that end-to-end data management problem, and whether it's analytics or whether it's AI, and I think that problem is going to persist.
Yeah. And many companies might think, or people might think, that master data management is actually a big company problem.
Yeah.
But that might not really be the case, is it?
Yeah, I think it isn't. I mean, master data management used to be this sort of multi-million-dollar sort of adventure, kind of akin to sort of an ERP. And look, don't get me wrong, really large data problems when you're dealing with millions and millions and tens of millions, in some cases billions of records, it could get quite big. But in reality, you can engage in MDM now in a SaaS environment in a very rapid way, showing returns incredibly quickly, a very low cost kind of engagement model. And that's more of what we're seeing now is more kind of iterative MDM engagement. So we offer multi-domain MDM. So you can buy kind of multi-domain MDM and start off, say, with customer and then move to sort of asset or move to product or move to finance. And we see that a lot with our customers. And one of our customers is a kind of a large retailer, and they keep adding new product lines. And so as they add a new product line, they can add capability, they add new suppliers, they can add new suppliers, and they can master that in real time at any stage. So it's a really powerful thing. And also if you're doing things like modernization, so say you're going from an old ERP to a new ERP, the worst thing you can do is do the move the data from here to there because you're just moving a data swamp. Or if you're doing an old CRM to a new CRM, you don't want to move the data from old to new. Again, data swamp. So the great thing about having MDM in the middle, you can often take millions out of the transformational costs because you are actually mastering the data before you move it into the new environment. So you're moving in the golden record, you're moving in the high quality, sort of perfect record, if you like, rather than moving in the swamp and just having a shiny new swamp.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
So at ISW, we're predominantly working within the Australian market, and we're seeing it working with a lot of different Australian customers of different sizes. What are the typical challenges that you see today in the Australian market?
Yeah, look, let me think of some particular examples. I mean, as we've discussed before, some of the really big themes we're seeing at the moment in Australian organisations is, having talked about implementing data governance for a long time, or even having policy governance and people in governance, but not implementing governance, we're seeing data governance be a really strong demand area for us. It's actually, we've seen it been rising for the last 3 years and it's really peaking at the moment. Secondly, because of the onset of the desire to use AI tools, data quality is becoming a really high demand area. Again, quality and governance go together incredibly well, but because we have this microservices architecture, you can just take as you need and start, kind of plan big, start small, and then consume as you go. We're seeing people kind of really lean in, from quality to governance or governance to quality, et cetera. The other one we're seeing as online operations and retail and engagement with customers, whether they be citizens or banks or insurance companies or retailers, is you have to have really premium quality and mastered customer records. And we're seeing a real surge in not the bloated sort of MDM projects of yesteryear, but really these sort of quick to implement, customer 360 engagements or supplier 360 engagements that helps that company to get super efficient. One of our customers in Sydney has advised us that their return on investment has been $8 million for a very small investment.
Fantastic.
So, and they're one of Australia's leading listed companies. So we hear that quite often. Another agency state agency, I won't mention which state, but they have been able to claim back $300 million in government income because of the MDM project we ran with them, which previously they couldn't recover. And so there is this incredible return on investment with mastering data and being able to identify and engage with the citizens or the client bases. So we get really excited about seeing those outcomes.
Yeah, okay. As ISW's been a long-serving partner with Informatica, we've had a very close relationship and fantastic support through your team at Informatica. Will we continue to see a partner-first strategy? And to support your, not only your partners but also your customers in the future?
Yeah, look, I don't know if you know this, but I started working and knowing about ISW 25 plus years ago. So I grew up as a partner first person in the industry way back at IBM, and it's been an incredibly intentional strategy of ours to actually reshape our business to be able to make our partners go first. And so everything we're doing, all the investments we've made in people, both sales and technical and product, marketing investment dollars, is all geared around how do we make ISW really impactful in impacting our mutual clients. So from my perspective, it's a top 3 strategy item, and I don't see it ever changing. And I think that most companies really want to achieve this goal, and it's something that we're really committed to.
Well, it's been a fantastic journey for us, and we appreciate the support.
Yeah, great.
So Richard, if you give Aussie CIOs out there any advice or guidance on how to kick off or lead into an AI or data initiative, what would that be?
Yeah, I think, again, every organisation, whether it's private or government, is different. But historically, we kind of had this CIO, and we had a CDO, Chief Data Officer, and a Chief Technology Officer, and a bunch of other kind of lieutenants. And it was kind of like, well, I've got this CDO and they can worry about data. And I think the reality is, maybe there's even a merge coming, which is CIO and CDO merging. And I guess what's my point? You actually need to put the data at the center of everything. And it might sound easy coming from a data management vendor, but if you think back that analytics and AI, it's all about data. If you think about most problems that companies face about optimizing or improving, return on investment, it's generally all about data. And even in some regards, if you have sold all your buildings and your trucks and the only thing you actually own is your data. So data is your most important asset. So I think you can't just have a data team and think you're okay. It has to be elevated. And some of the things I see in organizations sort of like not best practice is things like you have this incredible data governance team, but they can't break out of even their own team. They can't engage the business. They can't engage the board. Whereas the best practice that I've seen is, one of the Australian banks where the board are heavily engaged in data. The board members are meeting with the CDO regularly and talking about data. And there's a real data literacy at a really high level. There's a telco in Australia that trained every employee, tens of thousands of employees in how to manage PII data. And so I think looking at what is best practice and then how do they need to change their organisational structure and not just saying, I've got the CDO, I've got the data team, I'm okay. It's almost like the CIOs need to become CIDOs or something. Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Rich, it's been fantastic to have you to come down to Hobart and visit ISW offices.
Yeah.
Hope to do this again.
I loved being here. I always loved coming to Tasmania.
Yeah, I think it's I've enjoyed coming down here as working for ISW all these years. It is a treat. But always welcome to come down and join us again.
I'll be back.
Yeah. And we'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
Thank
cheers.
you.
Okay, take care. Mate. Bye.